What up, squad? D20 here, and while I have been slacking on the content creation lately, I'm coming at you with a big one today because I feel like it's gotta be said. While I very much stand by the fact that Back 4 Blood is a great core game and I had fun playing it and I plan to continue having fun playing it, there's some issues that have become pretty evident over time that I kinda need to address now. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the good, the bad, the ugly, and hopefully the future for Back 4 Blood. So it's always good to start things off of a little positive momentum, so I'd like to reiterate a couple things that I think Back 4 Blood does well and should continue to do well. While Back 4 Blood does share a lot of similar elements with Left 4 Dead, they're different games, and from what I can tell, the developers of Back 4 Blood want you to play it a little bit different than you would play Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead, especially near the end of its lifespan, became known for rushing through the levels. You're not there to clean every corner of zombies. You're there to get from point A to point B as fast as possible. But yeah, the gunplay is good, the graphics are fine, the character design is adequate. So, you know, there's a very satisfying core mechanic of gameplay here in this game, and that's why some of the issues, which we're going to start addressing in a minute, are so frustrating, because they're really holding back what could be a really fantastic top-tier game. But if there's some good things to talk about, there's probably some bad things to talk about, so let's get into that a little bit here. Core of the issues, in my mind at least, and, you know, I'm just a guy. I go on Twitter sometimes. I like Reddit a lot. I'm on the Back 4 Blood subreddit pretty consistently, and one thing I've noticed is that the subreddit for whatever game or movie or franchise or whatever, stream or whatever, it's going to be toxic, and it's just going to be a cesspool of hate. So you get locked in that sort of echo chamber, kind of can cloud and kind of taint your overall view on things, so it's important to get some perspective, but that's not to say that those complaints are not valid. A big complaint that I've seen on the subreddit, and I can echo here myself with first-hand experience, is the abrupt change in difficulty. So if you're like me, you start the game on Recruit, maybe you play with a couple bots, maybe you play with some randoms, first couple acts are a little rough, maybe you die on the boat a couple times, but as you start to learn the game, as you start to fill out some cards, get a feel for everything, somewhere around Act 2, you start to feel a lot more confident. It starts to feel a little bit Left 4 Dead-y. You're starting to go a little faster, not quite be as scared of tense situations as you might be otherwise. So, speaking again from first-hand experience, I was all gung-ho on this game, got it the day, preloaded on the early weekend. Then my friends got it when it came out on Game Pass, because they're cheap, but I don't blame them in this regard. And immediately, you see three difficulties, Recruit, Veteran, and Nightmare, and you're like, well, Recruit must be easy mode. I'm a big boy gamer. I don't need easy mode. Let me hop right in on Veteran. I remember specifically an instance with one of my IRL buddies, convinced them to get the game on Game Pass, and we had that exact conversation. It's like, no, let's just start on Recruit. And I'm like, you sure you don't want to unlock some cards? It can be kind of tricky. They're like, nah, we're good, we play Apex together, we do alright, we can handle it. And if I tell you we didn't get past the first fucking map, after like 45 minutes of playing, and I was like, guys, please, can we just go on Recruit? Please, I want to unlock some cards, get some supply points here. Then we did play it a little on Recruit, but then they had to go. And it kind of, I think, put a sour taste of the game in their mouth. I think they're like, oh, well, this is just hard, dumb bullshit. Why would I want to do this? I gotta grind for cards to make the game playable? And, that's where community expectations and developer expectations kind of meet, and there's some friction there, I think. Part of the tragic beauty of a game like Back 4 Blood, or even Left 4 Dead, is that it is a four-man team-based game, and every person on the team is needed. And this makes the moments when you and your squad are making call-outs, you got a charger over here, I need a heal, hurry up, I need ammo, dropping ammo, just literally 4 people playing as a unit to kick ass. That's what I love about Apex. That's what I love about any game that can bring out, human collaboration, and games like this, particularly horde shooters, you versus AI, man versus computer, I fucking love it. That human experience can absolutely elevate gaming to levels that single player really will never achieve, in my opinion. However, this scenic mountain of human camaraderie can quickly become a valley of lonely, toxic rage. While I absolutely met some cool heads playing just over the voice chat, queuing into pubs, trying to take down some veteran lobbies, just with whoever the internet decided to give me that day. Got my first taste at somebody using virtual audio cables in-game chat, and it was hilarious. I'm actually gonna try to get on that myself. A lot of good old Left 4 Dead heads on there. Everybody's calling them boomers and such, and some really great. It was a really good like zeitgeist kind of feeling, at least for the first couple weeks that I was really into the game heavy. However, at least on Veteran, that was approximately only 10 to 20% of my experience. The other 80 to 90% of the experience was dealing with either outright trolls or people who had never done what me and my buddies did, essentially, and just jumped in on Veteran, no cards, no experience. I can do this, no problem. So, or just straight up, like, I'm going to just run ahead of everybody and forget that this was ever even supposed to be a team game. And spoilers, that usually doesn't end up well. While it is concerning that was such a majority, overwhelmingly negative community teamwork element of the game, a thesis I saw put forward on Reddit that I'm inclined to agree with is that it is a $60 game, $100 with all the bullshit, and it's available for essentially $1 because you get your first month of Game Pass for $1. So there was a lot of people who probably were just like, I have no investment in this game, so whatever, I'm gonna trollo, YOLO, ruin the lobbies for a couple people and never pick it back up again. And now, as of making this video, I am guilty of not having played this game for at least 2 weeks. I definitely kind of burned myself out on it. That's my bad when I'm excited about a game. That is kind of how I do it. As of this recording, I have logged 127 hours. Some of that's AFK time, though, definitely. And I've unlocked pretty much everything but the last legs of the Apocalypse outfits as far as supply lines. So pretty much all the content I got, within these 127 hours. That includes running some of my friends through stuff, a lot of dead runs, trying to get through Veteran with randos and such. But, since November 14th was the last I played it. It's December 7th as of this recording. And just haven't felt a desire to strongly pick the game back up. And part of my reluctance to pick the game back up ties back into the difficulty. So picture this. Here I am, 127 hours in, all decks unlocked, got 8 different builds that I love to play, pretty much just grinding to get those outfits at the end. I'm playing with my buddy who at this point, he's got a decent amount of cards unlocked, but he, he's beaten Recruit at least twice, straight through. Every map has been beaten at least twice. So we decide to tackle some Veterans. So it's me and him and 2 randos in a lobby on Veteran trying to move through the kind of confusing checkpoint system, by the way. Definitely please do something about that. I can't, as of now, I've beaten Act 1 and 2 on Veteran. Act 3, I can't even believe, if it's the way I'm understanding it, how far you have to get a checkpoint in Act 3. So not looking forward to that. But so me, who's okay, let's say good at this game, just because I have a lot of hours in it, and my friend who's okay at this game, he's proficient at shooters, but kind of new to horde shooters and newish to Back 4 Blood. So here we are. We log in. We got all our perks loaded out, ready to go. Load in with 2 randos. One goes AFK right at the beginning, and the other opens the door and runs. We're stuck in the middle. The guy aggroes a bunch of crows, goes down, quits. We get knocked, and the guy in the safe room wakes up and comes over, but by then we've already wiped. It's the first map. We wait around in the safe room for 4 fucking minutes. And then now we're just down because some idiot just ran out and before everyone was ready and ruined it. This was not a unique experience. So while me, the super crazy I love Back for Blood maniac who still had all his cards unlocked and was able to attempt veteran with all the tools at my disposal, my friend here, we are slash repeating this disaster with randos for, a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then all of a sudden, it's the end of the night. We've beaten like one map. He's gotten like 30 supply tokens, and we love a challenge, but it's just not challenging in the way that it should be. Most of the problem lies in this is not anything that's a developer's fault really, beyond the community they cultivate, which isn't entirely up to them, but it's easier with bots. When your game's easier with bots, like, yes, these bots teleport and have AI and infinite ammo and stuff, but the simple fact, if they could have none of that, or not even be there, the fact that they don't disturb birds right off the bat makes them like 100%, like 1,000% better than randos who just have zero awareness. And like, I understand, man, I still startle birds too, but not like all the time, not obvious birds. So yes, this is a problem that I do believe will be lessened as the community matures, as the flash in the pan Game Pass players put the game down and don't pick it back up again. I think we will start to see good camaraderie form, and I think we'll hopefully can line ourselves up for more good lobbies than bad. And if you're not a big fan of Left 4 Dead, grab your Visine, because your eyes are going to glaze over for a couple minutes while I go into a couple nuances about what makes Left 4 Dead's difficulty difficult yet satisfying, and Back 4 Blood's difficulty difficult but not as satisfying. I'll try to keep it short and sweet, so just bear with me for a minute here. In Left 4 Dead, you have a creature called the Hunter, alright? And it basically just can pounce on you from long away and cap you and does pretty high damage per second while you're capped. You can, if you're good, like, shoot it out of the air with a shotgun or whatever, but sometimes that's not always possible. So if you know that hunter's coming at you, you can kind of hear through the sound, and if you're good, at least on versus, you know the map, you know roughly where the hunter's coming from. You could do a complete 180, turn around, and use the shove mechanic, and if you hit it on just right, not too early, not too late, just right, you actually dead stop that hunter in midair. And then, unlike Back 4 Blood, almost all the special infected in Left 4 Dead go down in one clip. Like, no doubt. There's like the Charger's the strongest one, but even him, you're usually killing in one clip. Most of the special infected in Left 4 Dead are susceptible to this dead stop maneuver. So, in essence, you have a high-risk, high-reward way to deal with a lot of special infected doing more damage than they might normally do, especially if you're playing on a harder difficulty. And this is where Back 4 Blood and Left 4 Dead differ most, is their use of special infected within the horde to elicit a playstyle out of the player. Back 4 Blood wants to throw large amounts of high health, high damage special infected at you. And honestly, it can be overwhelming if you're playing a doc and it takes you 3 clips of your starting MP5 to take down one special infected, and they're throwing 6 of them at you during a horde that comes back every 2 minutes. It's just a lot, even with good cards. And sometimes it just straight up feels unfair. Left 4 Dead had the problem too, where like, oh, okay, you go around a corner, there's no zombie there, and then all of a sudden the zombie spawns in, and like, you and your human brain kind of know that that zombie couldn't have been there, it just doesn't make sense. But, you know, the AI spawned it there because you weren't looking or whatever. And I get it, that happens. But the numbers and degree to which that happens, it makes it feel like there's something going on that's unintended. And based on, a decent amount of Reddit threads and some developer feedback, it does seem that there are situations on Veteran and above where it is spawning way more special infected than developers intended. And this very well could be. When you think about it, like this studio, how many hours could their 20-person team or whatever really play this game, and even a closed beta and all that? Like, they don't really get to see the majority of games that played, so it's kind of hard, I guess, to tell if, oh yeah, well, if only 25% of players are having increased spawns, this not working as intended spawning of extra special infected, then, and only like 2% of them tweet about it, and only 10% of those 2% of people's tweets get to the developers to make this issue an actual awareness, to raise awareness for it, it can be kind of difficult because, initially I was like, yeah, well, just get good. It's a hard game. You got to get good at it. But there is something there that makes me feel like, yeah, I am old and bad at video games, but this is really hard. Another thing that kind of irked the community that didn't really bother me personally because it didn't affect me was melee was extremely strong for a while there. You could generate health extremely fast, and by stacking stamina and all this stuff, you could get a really good melee deck going that was like essentially made you invincible as long as there were zombies to kill, and would actually provide temporary health to your teammates as well, which was amazing for trauma. But then they, before they addressed the issue of all the spawning SI, they decided to fix the issue of trauma, of temporary health, making trauma more manageable, essentially. They decided to patch that out because it wasn't working as intended, so now you accumulate the trauma a little more. They also took out the things that made that melee package. Now, melee's still fine, but it's not quite as OP as it used to be. So I get the community being like, hey, this game was really hard. We found a way how to kind of cheese it a little bit with these super stacked out melee builds, and now you nerf that and you leave us with all these fucking special infected spawning? Give me a break. And again, that's the negative Redditor in me coming out. But again, based on my own experiences, once we started trying to crack the game on veteran, me and my real life buddies, it's when them and I started to kind of lose interest in it because it was such a wall of difficulty. And the fact you don't get any supply tokens for wiping, you can spend the whole night and feel like you haven't grinded anything out. And you kind of need that little dopamine bush of, oh, at least I got some experience points. When you're dying constantly, at least I do. That can really go a long way to keeping players engaged, and I just feel like in that way, this very weird balance between difficulty and reward. Because this thing, I envision Back 4 Blood, me and my friends, like, okay, we're gonna wipe once or twice, but we can do it. It's like achievable, and we can kind of see the line of what we need to do different next time to succeed. And it's just not happening. It's just straight up getting overwhelmed. And no matter how cautious we play it, we just get overwhelmed and don't have the resources to deal with it on the medium difficulty, and then easy is too easy. We cheese it with pipe bombs and just like run through all the supply tokens to get easy supply tokens that we weren't getting on playing veteran. And that's like the worst. To have to grind in this kind of PvE game is just foolhardish. Like, I shouldn't be playing older levels that are boring to me to get the cards to make playing the next difficulty up tolerable. And of course, I am just an average person, so feel free to tell me to get good in the comments. So yeah, that's just some musings on what's been holding me back from really continuing to produce content and consistently play Back 4 Blood. I do have high hopes for the future. I do feel like they could have used another 6 months to work on this game and really polish it. And though their roadmap or their road ahead was a little vague, we'll discuss that in a minute here too. From the surface, from right now, it looks like a good path. It looks like it will have the content to kind of get new people in and keep the old players playing for a decent while at least. So I'll wrap up these espresso-induced ramblings with the YouTube hallmark of a numbered list, which I probably should have been doing the whole time, but we're winging it today, boys. Real fast, I'm just going to throw a bunch of shit under number 1, quality of life stuff. Sometimes you're just in that goddamn waiting room too long. I know this is what happens when you gotta get strangers together to play a video game on the internet, but you gotta respect my time here. Like, as an adult gamer, when you come home from work and you're just trying to jam some games and, you're back in the lobby for the 4th time because you wiped 6 times in a row on veteran, whatever, and you just gotta keep waiting for that one AFK guy. Or you restart from lobby 1 and you get a new player and you gotta wait 8 minutes for them to watch the cutscene they've never watched before. It's just a little disrespectful of my time, and I don't like it. I'd like to see some sort of synergy, some sort of improvement there. Also, under quality of life, should probably toss us a couple more skins, and some skins that aren't just like red t-shirts. Cosmetics did feel a little lazy, though I do like the Apocalypse gear, but you also really have to grind for it. Number 2 kind of goes into this, but the overall amount of content and the replayability of that content, while I do believe that once the difficulty is balanced, it will be a lot more fun and rewarding to go from Recruit into Veteran into Nightmare, and then not being able to beat Nightmare and being okay with that. As it stands now, it's really not super fun to replay. Like, yeah, I was able to, you know, trying out new builds, trying out my gold build, trying out my frag build, trying a bunch of different DPS builds and all that, and, you know, you grind tokens that way, but just to get, like, a funky hairdo for, like, your character, it's hard as an adult gamer to want to, like, keep grinding and keep playing and keep engaging with the software. If you're getting frustrated by the core mechanics and the only thing keeping you going is these arbitrary supply token unlocks. So a pro and a con to this is that it will be fixed, but it will be fixed by DLC, which is a complicated, you know, consumer-producer dynamic that I won't get into right now, but is absolutely worth exploring, particularly within the video game industry. The one thing I will say in regards to this, as long as they don't back down on it, I'm pretty sure this is still the situation though, is that as long as one person, in this case me, for my friends group, has all the DLC, other friends can load in and play the DLC with you, as long as one person in the party has the DLC, everybody can experience it, which I think is pretty cool. So there will be free updates in addition to DLC, which is absolutely necessary. If I didn't know that there was, you know, supposedly significant content still coming out for the game, I mean, you can beat this game in like a couple of days, and I would have been severely disappointed. So while the quality of these future updates is yet to be seen, the fact that they're there is good. Also, in the topic of improving the overall experience, as much as this feature can be abused and has been abused in other games, Left 4 Dead, looking at you, the team-based nature of the game and the necessity for everyone to at least be earnestly trying, not actively trolling, is pretty important. And I think, unfortunately, a vote kick feature might be necessary for that. That's another complicated video game philosophical issue, but I think in this case it's going to have to be warranted. Especially, you know, the situation described earlier. Me and my buddy, we're competent and we can beat the level with bots, but we can't beat it when we're playing with randos. You know, there's got to be some tool or something you can give the players to help even out these bad lobbies. And lastly, dear God help me, it's the most sensitive thing I could talk about. This issue plagues me, and I know it plagues the community, but let me tell you, when I heard about Back 4 Blood, and oh my god, Left 4 Dead creators, oh, it's going to be great, you know, all the hype and everything, the one thing that always made me a little sad was no verses. And then it was like, oh, there's going to be verses. Oh, but no campaign verses. But I didn't care. I was like, whatever, versus mode was so much goddamn fun in Left 4 Dead. Any semblance of that in the 21st century in 2020, 2021, with a active player base is going to be great. I can't wait. But if I told you of that 127 hours I have in this game, barely 2 of it was spent on versus, well, if I told you that, that'd be the truth. The meta gets so stale on maps that don't move. There's not a whole lot to think about other than like coordinating your attacks at the same time, which yeah, can be a rush. It's always a rush. It was a rush in Left 4 Dead. It's a rush now, but it's not the same as, okay, they're at this point in the map. This one's further ahead than that one. Let's separate the back 2 and boom, spit the front 2. And you know, there's just so much complexity in Left 4 Dead Versus that just gave it so much infinite replayability in a cooperative venue, and that is just being absolutely wasted here in Back 4 Blood, and it is absolutely tragic. I gotta be honest. So there's your 5 things: quality of life when it comes to lobbies and cosmetics, deeper replayability when it comes to the campaign, difficulty balance when it comes to the campaign, vote kick feature for multiplayer, and goddammit, give me campaign versus. And to wrap up here, because I've been talking for over 20 minutes at this point, let's take a quick peek at the roadmap that they published. So sometime in December, we'll be getting a holiday event, a new card type, some new cards. They're finally going to fix the solo offline campaign progression, which is another thing that didn't affect me, so I didn't put it in this list, but was a huge, tremendous oversight on their side. Inexcusable that it's taken so long, and this is an issue, one of those issues that, though it does not affect me, I am absolutely outraged on behalf of my people. And then over in 2022, after Turtle Rock Studios has had a nice winter vacation, we'll have a whole bunch of new shit coming. I feel like everything leading up to this first DLC, when they get these bugs ironed out, they got like a decent amount of content for new players to chew on. I feel like that's the full like grand opening of this game, honestly. Everything leading up to now has kind of felt like a soft opening. Not really the game as it's intended to be seen. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, we're here. We know you're really excited for us, so, you know, here's a peek. But I don't think it's really going to come into itself, at least until we see the first DLC, see the cards get a little bit more robust, see some of those difficulties get smoothed out. I think we'll see this game start to really come into itself. So with all that being said, what do you think? Am I being a shill for a lazy studio who pushed a half-finished product using a name of a beloved franchise? Or, despite the rocky start, do you have high hopes for Back 4 Blood to claim its place at the top of the zombie horde shooter genre? Let me know in the comments down below, and thank you for watching. And just on a personal note here, I know it's been a while since I updated, but let me tell you that the feedback I got from those couple of Back 4 Blood videos that I put out back in October, I've gotten over 6,000 views on one video. I'm up to 130 subscribers. It's absolutely shocking to me. I still get comments after not even playing the game for a couple of weeks or even looking at my YouTube. I'm still getting comments on it, and really gives me hope. Makes me feel like there really is a good community out there for this game, and I just gotta hop back on there and find it. So I'm feeling a little blood flowing back in my veins here for this game, getting really excited for the December update, so definitely expect some more Back 4 Blood related content from this channel coming soon. Gotten a little into the Halo multiplayer. That's a little buggy, but it is a very fun core mechanics, so that's been scratching my first person shooter itch, and I regretfully have to announce to the channel have this reoccurring health problem where I get totally hooked on magic cards once every couple of years, and currently in a full-blown bout of magic addiction. Been playing that arena a lot, and I'm absolutely hyped for Saviors of the Cyberpunk Neon Kamigawa. So if there's any chance you're watching this video and you're interested in any other kind of games in that genre, Magic particularly, I'm not particularly good at it, but I'd love to maybe create some Magic content for y'all in the future. But anyway, that's just a little bit of a ramble. This success has been absolutely beyond what I expected. It's something I just did for fun, to make a couple videos to show my friends, to try to get them into Back 4 Blood, so I didn't have to explain the mechanics 1,000 times to 10 different people. But it's been a very rewarding process, and it's given me a little fire under me to make even better content for y'all. So thank you everyone who is watching and has watched my videos. It means a lot to me. I've been D20. You've been wonderful. Keep on gaming and have a great day.